Next question, we'll start with Mr. McTavern. The Antonozzi Facilities Assessment Report indicates that over $96 million in capital work should be funded over the next 10 years. How would you determine the accuracy and validity of the work that comprises this total cost?
So, to me, again, I'm going to talk more about the process than the report itself. Firstly, part of the report is not public. While I have access to it, I can't talk to what is contained in the part that's not public. So the process is what I said before. I think this has to be a collaborative process. We are a town we need to crowdsource this problem. We need to collaborate with Board of Finance. We need to collaborate with the town in order to to me, the $96 million is a starting point that gives us an idea in terms of where the likely spend is going to be, but there's obviously two critical areas that we need to focus on. One is the immediate air quality inside all of the buildings. That has to be a priority. And then number two, the part of the work did not, the work that was done actually did not include what's behind the walls. So in terms of the confidence in the $96 million, at this point I actually don't know if it is how close we are actually to that number. It could be less, it could be more, we could be right on the money. But the process is what I would focus on rather than on the number itself.
Thank you.
It's certainly a big price tag. I think what it shows us is the cost of not having had an approach to infrastructure management in the past. My guess is that we would have spent some of that in past years and that we will have to spend some of that in future years regardless of the report at this point in time. I think, as Vic said, the most important thing is really or so years.
Thank you.
So I think this is a failure of the current board. Our infrastructure has been ignored for way too long. I haven't read the report, it's not public. But when you think about our portfolio of buildings, and we have 8 buildings, and say they're worth $500 million, you would spend 2 to 3% a year on maintenance of them. That is what any real estate manager would tell you. We have come far short of that. The budget is impenetrable. There are, I don't know, and I've looked and looked and looked, what's been allocated versus what's been spent. I think that all needs to be clearer. And then in terms of going forward and judging the report, it's hard to say without having seen it. But I know it sounds like a lot of money, but insofar as we're behind the ball, I'm guessing it's pretty accurate. And the question, after we decide what committees and how to budget it, is how to pay for it. And that's the bigger question.
Thank you.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Of course. So the recent facilities assessment report indicates that over $96 million in capital work should be funded over the next 10 years. How would you determine accuracy and validity of work that comprises this total cost?
Yes, and I think I alluded to this earlier. We do need to have a thorough review process of the $96 million amount that was projected for our town. And I think once we get a sense of what really is necessary, I think we need to just sift through and say what's maintenance and what's capital. We don't know that yet. And in addition to that, we need to determine, are there any redundancies? Have we already budgeted for some of these maintenance projects? My guess is no, and if we did, it might not, be a significant amount of money, but that's, I think, a critical step. The town has a 5-year capital project, from what I heard, and I think it would be pertinent for the Board of Ed to adopt something of that nature. We need to look for synergies. Are there ways that we can combine the facilities work in the town with the facilities work required for the Board of Ed? But one concern is if we do work together, we need to be clear on who is responsible for what. No finger pointing.
Thank you.